For more on this, we are now being joined by Mark Merowitz, professor at State University of New York Maritime College. He's joining us live from New York City. Mark, great to see you, and thank you so much for joining us. I just want to remind everyone that this Yahya Sinwar, who makes those comments, was actually an Israeli prisoner and was released for a Palestinian. He was the Palestinian released for an Israeli prisoner in Gaza, and now he heads Hamas. So you just see how twisted everything is. What about the ceasefire? How do you think it will affect Israel's future plans moving forward?
Well, to Sinwar, I wanted to mention that that was a swap for one Israeli, Gilad Shalit, for 1,000 prisoners. And also, when Yahya Sinwar, now the mastermind of this brutal atrocity, was in prison in Israel, he had brain cancer, and the Israeli doctors cured him, saved his life. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? So there's something brutal and twisted and sick about it. Now, the thing about the ceasefire, it's very complicated. A ceasefire, it's really a pause, because the more you have a ceasefire, in military terms, it's really you're losing the war. I mean, if the idea is to eradicate Hamas, then that war needs to be prosecuted. But at the same time, as you've pointed out, we have the hostages. Also, a latest development was that this little baby who has been held by Hamas, they said they don't even have this baby anymore. Another group, another jihadi group, has taken this poor child to the south of Gaza. So this becomes very complicated. Furthermore, it's a tangle of political players. But besides the fact that Iran is the enabler, you have Qatar, you have Egypt, of course you have Israel, and the United States. And with respect to the United States, Biden is also apparently dealing with his domestic politics and his future election bid. So this thing has spiraled so out of control. And at the end of the day, the hostages are really the focus of the world's attention and getting them out. But at the same time, Hamas should not be allowed to continue to exist after what it's done, which everyone, actually Elon Musk, as you know, was there in Israel looking at the videos of what occurred in meeting with family members. And he himself said, I understand what this brutality is, and Hamas should not be able to continue to exist.
And just to follow up on all of the different dynamics that at play here, this truce between Israel and Hamas is now holding up apparently for another 48 hours. We don't know if it'll be extended again. But the main challenge will be what will happen after.
Israel has very difficult decisions to make. And the other problem, just to add on to the complexity of it, now the Democratic senators in the United States, you know this idea of Tip O'Neill, that all politics is local now, some of those Democratic senators are saying, well, wait a minute, we're giving aid to Israel. We should control what Israel ends up doing after the truce ends. So there becomes another complication. So it's a complication that really doesn't have any great solutions. I mean, if we woke up in the morning and all the hostages were freed, well, then Israel would go in and destroy all the tunnels. So that's not going to happen. All the influence of all these players makes it very hard to figure out what to do. Netanyahu has said when the truce ends, Israel will go back to destroying Hamas. But that's not such a simple solution. So I think we have to do a wait and see here and see how this progresses. But at the end of the day, if Hamas said, we surrender, war's over, here are the hostages, then there wouldn't be a war. And I think this escapes many people's review of this situation, because they're not seeing that point. What they're seeing is Israel's response to the brutality on October 7th. But you really can't just see this story without looking at the entire picture and how it was precipitated and who was enabling it. And besides the fact, the utter failure of the international institutions, such as the United Nations and UNRWA, and also the Red Cross, to really do their job to make sure that there's going to be peace and that the hostages will be protected. I mean, how about these hostages who have dire need of medicine and they can't get medicine? Where's the Red Cross? Where's the United Nations? So for me, this is a wake-up call for the world to really look at this situation and try to see what's wrong with this picture, because there's so much wrong with it. And at the end of the day, hopefully the hostages will get home safely. And I don't feel a lot of confidence in what you said, that Sinwar said, oh, you're safe, you're fine, and you'll be okay here. I mean, that just, that you can't rely on that, because all that's coming out of Hamas is full of lies and misstatements. And what a gall to go and visit the hostages. What is the point of that? Why not just release them, especially the little babies, women and children? I mean, what is this? The world should be ashamed of itself to allow this situation to continue every day, and each day we're waiting, and to have a trickle out of hostages. That is not acceptable. We need to sit back, hopefully, when this is over, and really do a review of what this was and what was wrong about it, and to fix the way we're going to do things
and why this happened, and why these hostages are even in Gaza in the first place. Mark, it's always great to talk to you. I'm sorry we're running out of time. I had a lot more questions and I'd love to talk to you a little more, but hopefully you'll come back soon. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.